Okay, we'll call the Truth and Taxation public hearing to order at 7:01 PM and we'll rise for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Open the public hearing for the Truth and Taxation. Start with A, the accept any statements from the public. Is anybody here from the public ready to issue any statements? We're good? Did
And
you
I
get anything?
received none
Perfect, nothing by email?
No.
Okay,
or phone call.
or phone call. Give it just a minute in case somebody comes in late here. With nobody here from public comment, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
A motion is second by Councilmember Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. And we'll move on to item C, motion to approve resolution 2024-31.
I'll make that motion. To approve resolution 2024-31.
That'll be our final tax levy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote.
Yes.
All right, Mark, I am a yes.
Yes.
Ed? Oh, you're muted. Let me help you out there. One more time, good sir.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. All right, and that passes. Okay, now I'll make a motion to adjourn our, well, we already did that actually with a roll call, so we should be good to go. Now we'll call the city council meeting to order. It's 7:03 PM. And is anybody here for public comment for our council meeting? Nobody. All right, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. I do have just minor additions. Under 11, we'll add a C. First, the school update. We'll have Amy do a brief discussion on the school roof, correct? All right, and then on number 12, we'll get to that. We won't actually have our first reading if the council agrees. We'll have a vote on that one, just with new information come to light. Does anybody else have any additions?
I have one addition.
I have one addition.
You have one? Did Mark, do you say you have none or what?
One.
One, okay. We got Mark and Diane.
I have two.
And you have two others. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the additions.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. And that carries. Move on to item 8, approval of the consent agenda, items A and B.
Circle City on claims, that was part payment of our yearly. For that.
That's a monthly
Or
payment,
monthly,
and I believe that was for 6 months.
Okay.
For EDA,
Wow.
was it 12? Okay,
I think it was 6 months on one side, 6 months on the other side. So
Okay.
people are coming and going.
Okay.
and I see it got switched to the other side.
okay.
I'll also move on the approval of minutes for November 26th. Approval of the claims for December 10th, totaling 23,894.7.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, and that carries. Moving on to item 9, Attorney Jansen, you have the floor, good sir.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to bring to the council's attention here this meeting. We got a couple irons in the fire. Shane and myself, we met with council appointed by the League of Minnesota Cities on the advantage, I guess, issue, the bidding issue on the the hail damage that we're dealing with. They had drafted a letter just in response to the latest go around, essentially that they were not going to give in to any of Advantage's claims, that they didn't think there was much to it. So at this point, we're letting that play out. There's not a whole lot to update anybody yet. So as things progress, I'll certainly keep everybody up to speed on that. As Shane, he sent over this voter, the funds stuff from the county, this agreement.
Yep, just you haven't discussed with the council, if you just wouldn't mind giving them an overview of what that is.
Yeah, so essentially, the state sends out a certain amount of funds to the counties to be used for, yes, ensuring that the voting is held and everything goes smoothly. This amount of funds is to be used directly for, I guess, keeping the equipment up to date, postage, and very specific things that go around the elections. The county, looks like in the past, all the cities had agreed to just allocate their portion of the funds to the county to continue consolidating and working towards the elections. Looking at the agreement, looks like the amount of funds that would be allocated to the city would be about $200. So it's probably better used by the county as a whole. I don't know what the other cities are intending on doing. They haven't brought anything to my attention working with the other cities. So I think that this is due here, and they want to get it going at the end of January, so we got a little time before we gotta do any action on this. But it may be worthwhile just to see, what the other cities are thinking. But at the end of the day, it's talking $200 here in the grand scheme of it, we could probably put it to use, but there's certain restrictions that go along with this election funds. So we'd have to keep it all separate. We'd have to account for it and make reports on it. So at the end of the day, it just might be worth sending it to the county and let them manage the funds and put it to use.
You're not talking substantial money.
No, it's not enough to get a voting machine or anything like
Would that be
that.
enough later on, once we have the machine, when we have to have it, to just use that as a maintenance concept for the machine?
It would hardly offer anything.
Okay.
The $200, it's a good point, but I know even software updates, they're thousands.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we had that quoted almost 15 grand last time, so yeah, nothing to balk at. I was hoping it would be more, but it's not.
And I don't know, I know in their letter, the county references, that they are doing several things for the city. Maybe Diane can speak more to that, I guess what she sees, the county and what they're doing for us on these elections. I guess what the board.
There really isn't any more update than what you provided,
Yeah, I know
because we're mail-in ballot, so.
mail-in ballot till our registered voter threshold is met of, I can't recall offhand what it is, but we have plenty of time
Correct.
to utilize the mail-in. But I know Mary Lee's been a great resource if we've
Yes.
needed her in the past.
Our whole team.
Yep.
Our whole team. is.
They're around and they'll offer training as needed, things like that at no cost. So maybe that's part of that too.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on other cities and make sure we get that on our next agenda item to get signed once we know more.
But yeah, I think that's all I kind of got to update at this point. I know that there's gonna be some stuff coming down the pipe with the school bond. I'm guessing, I don't know if Amy's gonna touch on that tonight. We'll have to touch on that soon. But I'll let Amy touch on that when her time comes. But that's all I got.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Any questions for City Attorney Jansen? We will move on to item 10, Abdo. We have Jessie here and she's going to cover final budget and we'll go over resolution after. Go ahead, Jessie.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Jessie Sturts. I don't think I've met anybody. I'm stepping in for Julie tonight to present the 2025 budget and tax levy. So this is the final budget meeting for the 2025 budget process. As you can recall, we began this process in July with a work session to get guidance from the council. The preliminary budget and tax levy were approved in September. The council has reviewed the budget over the last few months leading up to today. Upon approval of the levy tonight, the levy will be certified with the county for collection in 2025. So as a reminder, the tax levy cannot be decreased from the preliminary amount adopted in September. It can be decreased, sorry, it cannot be increased. So in your packet, you have a budget memo prepared by Abdo. So on page 1 of your budget packet, the tax levy is currently set at an increase of $14,379 or 2.14% from 2024. This is a decrease of $24,000 from the preliminary levy that was adopted in September. This is a result of reducing the budget for the community school department. And as a reminder, the fire truck special levy is 0 for 2025 due to the debt that is being paid off in 2024 here. We did repurpose those levy dollars for the capital levy for fire to begin building reserves for future equipment purchases. Then if you scroll to page 2 of the budget packet, this is tax capacity comparison. So the tax capacity within the city increased approximately 0.92%. As a result of this small increase and the 2.4 increase in property taxes, the tax rate increases 1.21%. Then if you jump to page 4 of the packet, if you look at the table, you'll notice that the property taxes are increasing about 1% on residential homestead property with a value of about $126,000. The property taxes are decreasing by about 4.3% on residential homestead property with a value of $95,000. This decrease is due to the change in homestead market value exclusion for the property taxes payable in 2025. Then on page 5, we get into the detail of the general fund. So the general fund budgeted revenues and expenditures decreased $24,000 from the previous meeting. In the previous meeting, it was discussed that the EEA needed to review the community school department expenditures. As a result, the expenditures were reduced, thus reducing the tax levy. The total general fund revenues and expenditures are $727,097, an increase of $2,585 from 2024. And then the last page of, or the page 6 of the memo, then we go into the enterprise fund budget. So the enterprise fund budget's revenues and expenditures remained unchanged from the previous meeting. So I won't go into detail into that because you guys have nothing changed since last meeting. And then the remaining pages of your packet are detailed line by line revenues and expenditures. We can certainly go through any line items you want. And with that, I will take any questions anybody will have.
Thank you, Jesse. Anybody have questions for Abdul?
Well, I'm seeing, I think it worked out as far as people service and how we transitioned that over and what that amount was gonna be and what they took on for maintenance and the fee, and I think we did all right for what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Minimal increase, that's our goal, and I think, yes, it all panned out very well over the last few years. We knew last year would be a little more of a challenge getting the public works in full time, but now we're seeing that impact, so
Yeah.
that is very good. All right. Anything for Jesse?
Nope.
All right, thank you, Jesse, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a nice night.
You as well.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so that 2024-31, that's our resolution that we had already voted on that has been approved. So we'll move on to item 11, the school update. Amy, you want to start with the appraisal on the baseball lots?
Mr. Mayor, can we?
Oh, I'm
back
sorry,
up?
go ahead.
The resolution
Yep.
is for the TNT.
Yep, that was approved 2024-31 is what I'm showing on both.
Yeah, they put 31.
Okay, never mind.
Is that correct? Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll move on to item 11A, appraisal of the baseball lots.
Okay. After we met with the bank, it was Mark and Diane and myself met with the bank a couple of weeks ago. It was like
Right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right before Thanksgiving, before our first EDA meeting, the first Monday of this month. And we talked about the city buying back the baseball field, the half of the baseball field, and we agreed with the bank that each of us would get it appraised. And come back with our respective appraisals and try to negotiate a price with them. So I contacted 3 different appraisal companies to bring us some bids for the EDA meeting. 2 of them got back to me. One was Robinson Appraisal and Associates, and they gave us a bid of $1,500. Trevor Bervold gave us a bid of $2,000. The EDA unanimously approved going with Robinson Appraisal and Associates not to exceed $1,500. So we'll need permission from the city council to move forward. I did give that appraisal company an update that it needed council approval. I would contact him and set up the appraisal.
Okay. The 1,500, with that being an estimate, it would be wise for us to probably make it 18 just in case there's an addition. I always hate that in case you'd have to come back and try all over again. Because it is just that, it's an estimate, so.
Because it'll be more expensive.
It might be,
right?
you never know with those appraisals coming in. I don't know, unless he's got it written down, documented that it shall not exceed.
Yes, it in email.
Yeah, okay,
Is it written in there too, then what about all these other fees that they like to?
right, that's right, just to cover us on the vote tonight to make sure you can continue on accordingly without issues. I'd make a motion to approve the appraisal not to exceed $2,000 instead of the 1,500 originally agreed on by the EDA in case there's any taxes and miscellaneous fees applied.
I'll second it.
Great, motion a second. Any further discussion on that? All right,
And we do have the ability because even though it was voted or recommended from EDA.
yes,
Right.
yep,
And this would be the offer to buy out, I guess, our interest back.
correct. Yeah, that's how I look at it and then go from there.
It'll take 3 to 4 weeks
Okay,
for the appraisal to be completed.
and in the meantime, we're managing the boiler and everything in that building, so.
And then in return, essentially the city would be handing over, I guess, deeding everything else, so the school and then those industrial lots to the bank. Rather than
The
going,
garage also, the bus garage, is that all included with that?
As of right now, it might be the bus garage as well.
Yep.
I can talk about that when we get to C. Or
Okay,
Yeah, the bus garage is part of the school. I mean, it has not been separated out from there, so.
and the Lions are the ones that use it,
they're leasing.
They're
that.
leasing it, yep.
yeah.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye, pose same sign, and that carries. And then boiler maintenance, do you have any updates on that one?
I believe there's a document in your packet.
Yeah, I think you got one.
I think it's $320 a week.
Mhm. Yeah, the faster we can get this moving down the road, the better to have that deed transferred over to the bank, just so we're not dealing with this boiler. It's not a cheap thing to maintain whatsoever.
No.
So, but that is our option right now until we have somebody with a license that may be willing to assist in the interim. I know there was discussion, maybe at People Service they may, but that's,
They do not have a license, where this gentleman from Skogan has the license. And the details of maybe someone from People Service just reading daily numbers or weekly numbers, whatever is required.
And from what I understand, we need to do this.
There's state laws, yes.
Deed is handed over.
Make that motion for $320 to Scoggin.
Scoggin, yes.
Mankato.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, and that carries. And the school roof, Amy.
And we're gonna need some advice from you on this, because I'm gonna complicate things a little bit.
Here it comes.
A few weeks ago, I guess it was mid-November, someone looked at the school, was interested in it. I threw out the $825,000 or whatever the county has it valued at for the building. And I got an answer from that. That was too high. They did not give me an answer on the price they were looking at. But they were waiting for the realtor to be gone, so they would not pay realtor's fees. Well, they want Voss Construction to go up on the roof or take a look at the roof. That will probably that's going to determine how much they want to offer for the property. So Voss Construction called me today asking for permission to go up on the roof. One thought I had when I was driving, if in the next week or two, we enter into a purchase agreement to sell this building for $100,000 or $200,000. At the EDA, we had a realtor come in, Mark Diane, you'll remember, who basically told us the truth. He was very blunt with us and showed us the building's not worth anything. There was a comp that sold for $100,000. So if we sell it for that amount, his recommendation was do deed in lieu of foreclosure, hand over the keys and walk away. If we sell this for $100,000 or $200,000 to this interested party, then we no longer have what the county values as $825,000. How would deed in lieu of foreclosure then work? How does this all work?
Well, I think in order to, so let's say we entered into some agreement to sell the school for, I don't know, $100,000. Well, we still are holding that bond, and we got to satisfy that bond. So assuming we sold this, and we would have to get permission from the bank to do that, the bondholder. I can't imagine that, I guess they would grant that. Or I'm assuming they would want all of that money. And so that I'm guessing they would want to be intimately part of this negotiation. Given that it would be our intention to negotiate, is handing that deed over, receiving the school, or receiving that ballpark for, I guess, whatever we can negotiate that out at. I guess I would leave that in the bank's hands. I'm sure that the bank doesn't want it. I'm sure that they're gonna want to sell it or do something with it, so I can't imagine that they would shut down on.
The potential buyer does not want the baseball park.
Yep.
We had a conversation about it. They understand that the city wants the baseball park. They do not want that. That buyer wants the bus garage and they would let the Lions continue to use it if it's sold to that person.
And so just because we went and sold the school, I don't think that would let us out,
No, that
the
won't.
bond wouldn't follow the building, it would.
Right, so so we owe 1.2 million. We sell just that one building and then we still owe 1.1 million. Then we're gonna hand over deeds that are worth
So I think
400,000 to satisfy. Will the bank?
that's what I would be worried about. I think
That's what I'm concerned about.
we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot by handing, selling this off at a massive discount. And if the bank, they're gonna want their due.
Right, their attorney is reviewing the deed in lieu of foreclosure right now.
And if any buyer comes in, Ken, it should be the bank's job to talk about that retail, right? Or talk about that real estate sale. And we need to step the heck away from it.
And
That's how I look at it.
They say it is our responsibility.
I disagree.
as of now, yes, it's the EDA's property, it's. Now, as part of the bond, we have to work with the bondholder. To get that property sold. So. Given that our intentions are to. Hopefully negotiate just handing over the deed. In lieu of going through the foreclosure. I think yes, it's gonna fall on the bank. And how is that, if we sold it, I would think that would be a negative, impact on our ability to negotiate this.
The deed and the foreclosure.
But at the same time, the bank very well may be open to working towards some sort of sale, so I think we'd want to work hand in hand with them to do that. So I can't imagine that the bank wants to hold this property any more than
Oh,
we
I
do.
think they would be happy to sell it.
But what I'm saying is like as an offer comes in. Let's say Amy gets this cash offer, right? That should, in theory, Amy should make note of it, but in theory, should all be going to the bank to make them.
Correct.
Make that call. We
Correct.
shouldn't meddle in it, try to negotiate higher, lower, whatever.
Yeah,
It
right.
just needs to,
'Cause
hey, we found a potential buyer, here's their
There
info.
you go.
And that may be something, that we can negotiate with, that's gonna be helpful. But our number one concern is getting rid of that bond.
Right,
Mhm.
So,
And also if there is a buyer, yeah, I agree, you get rid of that bond. But if there is a buyer and it's something good for the city, hopefully would all work out.
and that's the hope, but the number one, if we're going to sell this to, somebody that's good to the city for $100,000.
Mhm.
And the bank says, well, that's
Right.
great and all, but you still owe 1.1 million.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
so
know, then
we
that
have to
doesn't
make
do us
sure
much
that
good.
we can do the deed thing after
Yeah.
that.
That's, so I would think we gotta work hand in hand with the bank. If we do find a potential buyer.
So if I get an offer, let's just lay out next steps. Say I get an offer in the next few days or next week.
Then we'll want to approach the bank and let them know of this offer.
Will you be coming with us or will you be speaking with their attorney?
I can certainly do that, yes.
Yeah,
But we definitely don't want to be entering into any contracts, because one, we got to get approval from the bondholder before we can be selling this.
And they know who the buyer is and they know what's going on right now.
And like I said, it very well may be what the bank wants to do. I can't imagine they want to hold this property.
No. They also, I sure realize it's gonna be difficult to sell that building, so if we have someone interested.
well, and I hope that it's in their interest to work with us. We all know that a lot of these transactions, they're insured to BTEC. I think our main goal is just get rid of that bond, buy the lot and just walk away. To me, that's cut and dry. We don't want to do any more or any less. Just be done with it.
That's
No.
the best idea.
But I also understand the bank's in a predicament, but we got to look out for the city.
So definitely keep me in the loop if an offer does come
I
in.
may get, yeah, just heads up, I'll call or leave a message if I get a
Right.
offer. So what do we do about Boss Construction up on the roof? Do they have permission to get up on the roof?
I guess I don't see why not. It is the EDA property at this time, and we can do our due diligence to, take steps to get it sold. And I would, like I said, I think that the bank would want us to continue
Keep-
exploring those options.
Well, it's been tough for me because it is in the EDA's best
Mhm.
interest to get it sold as well. We don't want an empty building in town.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not good for the city, so it's in our best interest, but we also have to protect the city. Get rid of the bond.
And I think we gotta look at that as priority number one is getting rid of that bond.
Yes. I agree.
I will let Voss Construction know they can get up on the roof and I guess watch for something coming from me.
That roof has been redone maybe, is it 4 years ago?
Not
And I know they didn't put probably the heaviest membrane on there because they were just trying to flatline, make it as cheap as they could, so.
But wasn't
It's
it
gonna be
just
interesting.
inspected anyways because of the hail that came through last year? So it was already looked at because it was city owned anyways. So there shouldn't be a whole heck of a lot.
I would think so, but.
Okay, those flat roofs, It can be a surprise. Perfect. Anything else, Amy, on that?
That was all I had in this call.
Perfect. Thanks. It's a lot.
Yes.
It is a lot, but you're doing good. All right, we'll move on to item 12. We were gonna look at the ordinance 2024-03 truck route for the first reading. However, we're trying to find the old engineering or road maps. In my opinion, we have till spring really before the restrictions come into play. I would rather we make a motion to table this for the next meeting, do some research and try to find the actual historical road maps. So that is my motion on the floor and not a first reading today.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and that will be tabled till the next meeting. Moving on to item 13, we have tree committee updates.
I don't really have any.
Yeah, not much to update on.
Who's here? Do you have an update for the tree committee?
We are,
Software.
we didn't get the software, so we've been creating accounts for that. And, hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll kind of start playing around with it and get some trees in there.
Yeah, priority is get that survey started even, hopefully we'll have a better winter to get this done a little faster. Based on tree bark only at this time, but we want to see a lot of this, the ash trees because of the emerald ash borer that of course we have in our community and surrounding and make sure that's documented as such. So we have a plan of action in the summer. So yeah, the software is going to be great. I think, Harrison, right? It looks pretty good. It'll plot every single tree the city owns and also can go into details on preventative maintenance that we have to do in the future. So
I think it helps in confusion of maybe neighborhoods or neighbor lines or whatever. too.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, Amy, you got the application submitted for the Tree City USA and
The application is in.
yep, so we are waiting. All right, and 14, EDA planning and zoning updates.
The resolution listed 2024-30 was a resolution approved by the EDA. That was a resolution drafted by the attorneys from Adlers. That was moving forward with the TIF district for Charlotte Enclave. They had asked me privately for another extension until February, and I asked them to come to the EDA meeting to request that extension, and they did not show up, and we moved forward. Spoke with Wilhat, and they are going to, they would like to try to get TIF approved this year yet before there's a change in city council, change in EDA next year, so they'd like to get it approved this year yet. It is tentatively set for the public hearing on the 26th of December, at which point the city council would approve the resolution approving the TIF district and have that development agreement agreed to first. I believe you have an appointment with their attorney for, is it the 13th?
Tomorrow.
Who?
Tomorrow.
Coming in hot.
I'll be talking with them tomorrow, see where they're at on it and.
So hopefully we'll come to an agreement that development agreement should come back to the EDA. So we would have to have a special meeting this month to keep this all rolling with the December 25th or 26th deadline. We'll have to have a special meeting. Remember, I need 3 days in advance to post notice of that special meeting. So hopefully there'll be an agreement on what should be in that development agreement. Nick can come back and I can post on the meeting for the EDA. We're gonna have it before the next city council meeting. And then that should be approved on the agenda before the resolution is approved for the TIF.
I mean, there's an assuming that's accruing a cost you're going already. The meeting again is gonna cost us. I mean, is that money's gonna be put?
He'll be
He
billed.
was told he would have to pay for the special meeting.
Okay.
Yep, we have that in our
We
fee
did.
schedule.
Let him know that.
Perfect. Anything else on that, Amy? Do we don't need to vote on 24-30, do
You
we?
do not need to
I
vote
don't
on
think
that.
so.
No, that was an EDA resolution.
Yep.
You'll have your own coming up on.
I was gonna say,
the
that's
26th.
hopefully knock on wood. We have that coming in.
Yeah, everything keeps moving.
Right.
The development agreement, I did draft a development agreement for the Greenell warehouse. I gave it to Jordan to look at right now to see what he thinks about what I put in there. I put in there the jobs, the value of the building, the square footage of the building. They had listed quite a few jobs It's like between 15 and 20, so I put that in there to hold them to that. We'll wait to get feedback from Jordan from Bartles, and then I'll send it to you to review.
Right.
Perfect. Move on to item 15, park board. Oh, I'm sorry, Amy, go ahead.
With the comp plan, we've been doing some updates with the website. The comp plan committee was working. One of their goals was to update the website, make it a little bit easier to navigate and the page is more uniform. Harrison has been working with Michael on the website, and there was a couple changes.
Yeah, a couple of things that came out of the committee were, when you're on the website, when you click on the top navigations, they are both a drop down and a link. And everyone agreed that was confusing, that it was, you had to like click on it twice and then it would become a link. So changing that was, what was the name of the other company that does the graphics?
All Vivid.
Vivid. So Michael got a quote from Vivid to make the change to that, and then to make the change for the
The estimated cost for adding the YouTube icon and drop-down navigation indicators is $175 to $225. So we would need permission to spend that much money to make those changes on the website. And then they need a professional, high resolution photo. A few years ago, I had taken some with a DSLR camera, so I have some high resolution photos. I need to see if I can find them and see if I can find an appropriate one for the front of the website that we could use on there. If anybody else has like a DSLR camera that has some photos.
We have a camera, but no photos yet. And of course, it's winter. Things look
Yeah,
horrible
it
in
looks
winter
like a
time.
horror movie if you take any photos.
Yep.
Do not take city photos in winter.
No,
No.
does not look friendly in
Yeah, it's gonna
Minnesota.
be green out, yeah, otherwise it's a horror movie, so. We're looking for permission from the city council to pay that $175 or up to $225 to make those changes, so.
Is there gonna be any more changes, you think? In the future?
I think the other changes that we have discussed, Michael is able to accomplish, or we have access to accomplish, because I think even changing the photo, Michael said that we have access to do that, so. It was just those two things
Okay.
that involved it.
Perfect. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the website updates not to exceed $225.
I'll second it.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, pose same sign. And that carries. Thank you, guys. It's a lot of hard work. Good job, Harrison and Michael. Get that underway. Anything else, Amy?
That is all I have.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Park board update. Do you have anything on that this round?
Not too much going on. We have the gazebo decorated for Christmas, and Tim and Kathy Hartle came, decorated the tree. The tree came in from the Norwood Lions because they utilize our town for some fundraising. So looks nice.
Perfect, thank you. And then reminder, committee applications, those seeking, if their term's up or they're seeking renewal there or want to get on a new committee, just have your committee applications in by December 13th. And I think we went through quite a few of them, so we've got a lot of applicants, and that's a good sign. It's a nice way for mayoral appointments to go and simplify the process and have some order behind it too, to citizens interested. So it's going very well, I think, for our first run of it. And we'll move on to other items. Mark, we'll get your spot taken care of.
Recycling over there by the maintenance shop there. Has anybody seen that dishwasher laying along the side of the bin there?
All over here?
On by our maintenance shop, they're back here.
Oh, the township recycling area?
Or whatever it is.
So we can let the county know. It's not ours. They have to routinely monitor it, but you'll email the guy.
As you drive up there, somebody told me about it. It's right on the very end, one right in front of it. So. Is it their job, the camera? We do have a camera, right, to my understanding. Do they want to be more proactive to have a camera on it someplace else? I'm just saying, I don't know what.
It's their job to do the camera. They pay for it. They just leave it there as a service. And they're pretty good. If something's dumped there, they'll pick it up. I wish that they discover it first, but they tend not to. We're the ones that historically report like, hey, there's a washer. Somebody had a bunch of chairs that I broke up one day and threw in the dumpster, and it's becoming problematic. I'm sure Diane can ask if he has any intentions on putting up a camera. I know we probably don't want to pay for them ourselves and put them up.
I didn't
but-
expect it, but I think. I mean, that's takes a lot of, you know what, to
Mhm.
set it right there, but they do it.
They do it.
So anyway, that's all I really had. Somebody had mentioned it. So.
No, that's good. And the cameras work well. We found someone illegally dumping at the compost site, reached out to the person not to do it again. So I mean, it's gonna pay for itself
That
soon.
was our intent.
Yep. All right, Diane, your turn.
I was just wondering if there's an update from Excel regarding our Christmas lights. Some are done and we have quite a few more, so.
From Excel, we're working with an electrician.
Oh, I thought you said you were working with Excel on this. No?
No, Excel put up the new poles
Right.
and kind of left them mishmash.
Okay,
We have an electrician that is scheduled to come in and take a look at those poles
okay.
and determine what they can do to help us.
All right.
I know it's a long process. We're on a list.
Yeah. So when we have more lights, right? I mean, it just looks so bare this year compared to other years. I don't think we have them all up, right? Because poles don't have the gray boxes on them.
I think they're up.
I think they're all up. It's just
They're
that
up,
they're
just not illuminated.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and we used to have some like on Highway 5. Are those up too? I didn't notice.
Mhm.
They are,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, soon it's here, so tell them to get here to Greenhouse. Thank you.
Did you have anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Oh,
I was
perfect.
just wondering where we're at with that.
That's good. All right, move on to other A, the fee schedule. It's coming in.
Yes, if we could take a look at that, if there's any changes, additions, subtractions, whatever, so that we can have that by our first meeting in January to approve. Please let me know if there's anything.
Perfect. And then I assume we can do this one pretty quick for our meeting mileage forms for the city council and other committees. I think everybody's pretty good at signing in and tracking other meetings through that paperwork that we have on the table here. So I think it's possible for all of us to let Diane know if we've attended any meetings that we haven't documented by tomorrow night. Is that doable from everyone before she gets started? This will get her ahead of the curve here, getting everything completed by year
If
end.
there's anything from mine.
Okay,
really,
good.
So.
Good.
Perfect.
I don't have any.
Okay,
You'll be good
that's
to go
great.
tomorrow then.
Yes, yes,
Excellent.
that's awesome. Thank you.
All right, crosswalk.
I was approached by some residents of Greenough requesting a crosswalk on Highway 5. From
Yeah,
like the gazebo for the Veterans Park across.
we all want
And
one.
I said that I would put it on
Mhm.
Right.
the agenda.
Yep.
And I know it's been looked at several
Mhm.
times and it's in the works.
It's
Yep.
in the trail plan.
Yep, it's in the trail plan. It's also something MinDOT needs to do. Even the sidewalk here. We were able to get a lot of the sidewalk done from the school side, otherwise that wasn't even gonna be a thing, except, MinDOT was going to do, but with some ADA complaints, we were able to make that happen while they were here. We were hoping they'd do the other end, but they did not have time nor money in their budget to do it. They tend to run out of money, and I don't think that the state was able to complete this round either. So we'll see how legislation looks next year. Cause I know they have a big bonding bill they've got to approve before they get their street funds. So we can continue to report to MinDOT as a compliant measure. So we will continue to work with MinDOT and try to push that along. Ken, you got something on that? No?
I don't
I don't
think.
know what
it
else we
was
can
that.
do. Yeah. All right, and then sidewalk, 296 McGrand to Grove Street.
Which is across the street
Same one
from
there.
the city, yeah. I was approached by that as well. The sidewalk is not in very good shape at all. And just wondering what the next process, and if that's part of the trail plan as well.
I don't think that piece
that
is,
was
no.
not, okay.
And sidewalks now historically, that's been a MinDOT thing as well, has it not?
Well, it's on the city side.
Okay,
It's not on McGrann. The address is McGrann,
okay,
but the sidewalk itself is on the side of the building, I would
I
say,
got
on
you.
the west side of the building.
okay. So that's
Is that
something,
Foster's, or me, right in front of
Yes.
Foster's?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not the
bad.
front of it,
Yeah.
but it's on the side. Yeah,
It's been
yes,
bad for years already.
correct. And it's been brought to my attention.
sounds like a great thing
So-
for our Public Works Committee to look at. That would be one that we should probably get done though, next year.
Add it to our list.
Yep, we can't do it this spring or this
Right,
winter, but
right,
yeah, something to
right.
look at in the spring.
Isn't it hard residential too? That helps pay. Isn't it like a 50-50 thing for sidewalks?
Not necessarily.
Oh, I thought
It depends on how the city wants to proceed with it. For sidewalk installations or removals, there's different things we could do for that, but. Yeah,
But I think that's zoned commercial.
that one is commercial.
Oh, it's commercial.
Mhm.
Okay. That's different then too.
And you had two items?
I did, it was brought to my attention about the compost site
Mhm.
when someone came in and offloaded some not inappropriate. We need to define size of shrub and brush
Mhm.
somehow, and I don't know if that falls into one of our ordinances or what, because,
We can define it by signage right here too and put it in
okay,
ordinance. I guess the standard, when you define brush, it's historically less than the width of your thumb, is it not? That's how I've always read brush to be. So a tree would not qualify as brush.
but does a limb qualify as shrub?
Yeah, we probably need
Or-
to
Yeah, we'll.
put
leave
together
that
some
fine.
sort of definition.
Yes, yes, and
Some
that's
sort of
where
policy.
this came about during the
Yeah, I was out there
context.
Too, I noticed it too, yeah, I think it's, should we put it in the leaves part, or should we put it, yeah, what category does it get? That
Well, it
was-
shouldn't have been, no, it shouldn't have been out there at all. It was too big.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's
these
too
were
big.
trees.
We have to
Yeah.
define a
that-
shrub,
you wanna
the
define that
shrub.
part.
Well, and
Right.
yeah, in brush, compost and brush, and this was from many cities, brush is defined as branches 1 to 3 inches in diameter and over 1 foot long. Or I would say less than or over, whichever works. And that can be placed in a different pile at the compost site. But we only have two sections there, which eventually we talked about adding more area, but
Well, I think we do have a sign, we have signage that does say shrub and brush,
shrub.
but it does not define,
Where do you put it?
no,
Doesn't
the
define what
size.
shrub
It's the
is.
size. That's the problem.
What?
Yeah,
And I would say
Yeah.
brush is defined as branches 1 to 3 inches in diameter.
okay.
So we gotta get something up in front of it, that people can read it as they come into it, or, yeah, or.
Right next to the bunker, but something that
Mhm.
states specifically. And that's where, I was in contact with the person that did, dump out there something larger than this. And came back with it needed to be defined. So that other people don't.
It should be, because that really takes up the dumpsters. I mean, it fills up there,
Mhm.
so it's just.
Well, and I think if we define it, we should define it. I mean, it's,
We got the ability to say no. I mean, that's
right.
when they come through.
So I think 1 to 3 inches in diameter.
And
would
nothing
be
longer
nice.
than 1 foot.
Yep,
Okay,
that would be my definition. They can easily chop it when they're dropping it off, I would say, especially if it's that thin. That way we can get it to fit in dumpsters
Mhm.
better for when it's taken away.
So
Correct.
yes, we don't accept trees or
Mm-mm.
big
No,
limbs,
no,
correct?
that is
No,
correct.
and that was part of the
That's
issue is that people were dumping off full-size trees before.
Right. I saw some big
So,
ones out there too.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
and I
then-
believe in the packet, I'm hoping that I
Yep.
make copies for everyone
Go
from
ahead.
212 Equipment, a brush. No.
See that one.
Okay, I think it was last year that we purchased a
Yep.
brush for our sidewalks. The brush itself is getting wore down a little bit. We probably can make it through this season, but want to look at maybe getting another one.
Mhm.
And the one that was pictured here is $1,700.
Okay, Yeah, I know it wasn't a bad price we
No, it
paid
wasn't.
last time, so.
No, it wasn't, but just want to
You're
keep that.
talking the broom or brush, I call it broom.
A broom, okay.
Yeah, instead of the guts of it, yep.
But we can make it through this season.
I believe that we can, but I just want to kind of put it out there so that everyone's aware of
Yeah,
it.
Is that
they'll
a
wear.
brand new one or a?
No, this is a used one,
Yeah.
yeah, for $1,700, because I think the new ones were like 10,000.
Yeah.
They're spending.
Yes, and if we can kind of get by with.
Yeah, and when it's, well, how long are they gonna have that? There is it
That's what I
up
was
for
just-
sale right now?
Yeah, it is.
It's it's gonna be there. I mean, if we wait.
Can't guarantee it, but it's for sale.
Exactly, it's for sale.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
a
like,
you know,
good deal.
that's a lot of difference in money, 1,700 to
I still have a
2,000.
motion to purchase
Right,
the broom or brush Bobcat attachment, correct? Because that's what it is.
Mhm.
correct.
From the 212. What is the?
Equipment.
Equipment.
Yes, yes.
For $1,700.
Yes.
Including, oh, we don't pay.
We don't pay taxes, so.
$1,700.
Motion in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
right.
Aye. Pose same sign. And that
Perfect.
carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that covers everything. Just a reminder for our next meeting's a little different. It's gonna be December 26th at 7 PM for the last council meeting of the year. All right, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and meeting is adjourned at 7:50.